Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and this is the new MSI GS75 Stealth, which is the most powerful and also the most expensive laptop I've ever reviewed. It's kind of like last year's 17-inch GS73, but with the design and the high refresh rate of the 15-inch GS65. And so now we have the GS75 with that 17-inch 144Hz display, the super thin bezel which was introduced on the GS65 last year and means actually this is one of the smallest, most compact 17-inch gaming laptops on the market. But most importantly, we now get the latest NVIDIA RTX graphics cards. I've got the top spec model here with an RTX 2080 Max-Q, a 6-core i7-8750H processor, 32 gigs of RAM, and 512 gigs of SSD storage. Now this is the fun bit. How much do you think this costs? As I say, 144Hz, 17-inch, RTX 2080, this is the top spec one. Vote in the poll at the top right and let me know how much you think this costs, because to say I was a bit surprised is a bit of an understatement. This will set you back a cool £3,400, nearly $3,500. Now to be fair, you can get the new entry-level GS65, so that's the 15-inch version, with an RTX 2060 for about £2,000. In fact, you can get this GS75 with an RTX 2070 for $2,500, which seems like a better deal to me. Either way, we're talking about crazy amounts of money, so this had better be a bloody good laptop. Well, the good news is, it is. This thing is incredible. It's just 19mm thick and weighs 2.25 kilograms, or about 4 pounds. So while it's not exactly light, it's actually only 200 grams heavier than my Dell XPS 15. From the outside, not much has really changed from last year's GS65. It has the same signature slim design, an all-metal body with those stylish bronze accents, and overall I think it's a stunning looking laptop. The fully RGB SteelSeries keyboard, extra wide touchpad, and solid range of ports, which include Thunderbolt 3, HDMI 2, and Gigabit Ethernet, it all adds up to make this one of my favorite laptops to use. But it's not perfect. It does have a fair amount of screen wobble, as you can see there. Also, the metal lid picks up smudges and fingerprints quite easily. I always have to carry around a microfiber cloth with me. There is a good selection of ports, but it seems a bit bizarre that when they can fit a Gigabit Ethernet, they couldn't find room for a full-size SD card reader. We're stuck with a micro SD reader, which just isn't as useful. And while I'm talking about the ports, they are relatively close to the front compared to many other laptops. There's nothing on the back, and because we've got these fan grills here, they're pushed forward a bit, so when you're plugging in the power or peripherals, the cables aren't quite as easy to hide. But these issues are far from deal breakers. I'm just nitpicking really. However, I was initially a bit skeptical about MSI's decision to use a 1080p resolution for the 17-inch screen. 15-inch fine, 17-inch pushing it a bit, it's not going to be the sharpest. To be honest with you though, I've been using this for the past week and it hasn't bothered me at all. I've never been playing games and thought, oh, I can see individual pixels or it doesn't look very sharp. It really is fine, and the big upside is you get much better performance, so you can take full advantage of that smooth 144Hz refresh rate. It's a really nice screen as well. The matte IPS panel offers vibrant and accurate colors, solid viewing angles, and a low 3 millisecond response time. But let's get to the good stuff. Let's jump into some games. And with that 2080 Max-Q on board, I'm expecting this thing to pack a punch. This is how the GS75 performs at Full HD with ultra settings. Even maxed out, most games here are breaking triple-digit frame rates. And it really is so much fun jumping into a bit of Apex and getting such a smooth frame rate. In Battlefield 5, I was averaging 109 frames per second, but then turning on ray tracing to ultra, it went down to 58. So right now I keep that turned off, but the good news is a DLSS update is coming in the next few days, which will significantly improve ray tracing performance. So I'm going to revisit this when the update is here and test all the RTX features properly in Battlefield, Metro Exodus, and Anthem. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video coming soon. I did find the graphics card was throttling sometimes, and if you go into the MSI Dragon Center and then select the Cooler Boost mode, which just puts the fans in turbo crazy loud mode, I found frame rates jumped by 10% on average. So if you're playing games at home and you have headphones on, I'd recommend changing the fan profile. Most of the time though, I leave it on auto, and under load, I recorded a max temperature of 40 degrees Celsius on the fans below the screen. It did get quite hot underneath though, so I wouldn't play games with it on my lap, but the palm rest and the keyboard stayed cool throughout. And while fan noise was reasonably loud, around 26 dBs from where I was sitting, it wasn't too distracting while gaming. Normally though, if you're just watching YouTube videos or doing some lighter tasks, you can't actually hear the fans and the temperatures stay under 30 degrees. Of course, while I would always recommend using a good pair of headphones, the bottom firing speakers are actually surprisingly good. Compared to last year's GS75 with a GTX 1070 Max Q, performance gains aren't that significant. We're looking at about a 20% boost across those games I tested, so if you pardon the pun, it's not really a game changer. However, with more games coming with ray tracing and DLSS support, plus we'll see apps like Premiere Pro and the Adobe Suite adding RTX optimizations later this year, I don't think we're really showing off the full potential of the RTX graphics cards just yet. Moving on to battery life, and it's solid, it's fine, but it's not great. The 82 watt-hour battery lasted for about 5 hours when just doing things like browsing the web and watching videos while in power saving mode. Put it into performance mode and boot up a game, and you'll get about an hour and 45 minutes. If you're a fan of RGB, then you're gonna love the keyboard on this thing. It's a SteelSeries keyboard, but you get per key backlighting, which you can customize in the pre-installed SteelSeries app, where you can also change key bindings and create macros. I did find the app kind of hard to use, if I'm honest, from like a UI point of view. It took me about 10 minutes just to figure out how to make the keyboard a solid blue color, but the amount of customization and patterns you can make, it's pretty cool. The chiclet style keys feel great to type on with about 1.5mm of travel, but I did find that because of the extra wide touchpad, which is in the middle of the palm rest, but the main keyboard is pushed to the left a bit because we've got that numpad, it didn't initially feel like the most natural position for my hands. I got used to it pretty quickly, but I kind of wish they just ditched the numpad. The precision touchpad is smooth and responsive, and it's actually one of the nicest I've used, but obviously when you're gaming, you're probably going to use a mouse. So then, should you actually buy this, the GS75? Well, there's a few tweaks here and there, but mainly this is all about those RTX graphics cards. And the problem is it faces some stiff competition from the likes of the Acer Predator Triton 500, the Razer Blade 15 Advanced, the Gigabyte Aero 15Y9, and of course the Asus ROG Zephyrus GX 531, which are all RTX powered gaming laptops. To be honest, if you do have very deep pockets and you have your heart set on getting an RTX graphics card in your laptop so you know it's a bit more future-proof and you do want that extra performance, in this case to take advantage of the high refresh rate, then yeah, this is a fantastic laptop with crazy specs, a beautiful design, and really, really good performance. But I just don't think, if I'm quite honest, that any of these RTX laptops are worth the crazy prices that they have right now. And actually, now these are coming out, you may be able to find last year's model with a 1070 Max Q, which is only 20% or so slower than this at a heavy discount. So value for money wise, that's your best bet. So it may be very expensive and not the best value for money, but this is still an incredible laptop. And I would highly recommend it if you have £2,000 to £3,500 going spare. So that's what I think, but what do you reckon? Do you think these are worth the upgrade? Do you think the prices are crazy, or they're justified based on the performance and the quality of the design? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, and if you want to see more, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you next time right here on the Tech Chat.